we had already a plan, as I think Lawrence knows, that West Africa a few years ago was hit by the Ebola virus crisis, and almost all the communities and the businesses in Lagos, at least, took some measures in terms of communication, fast communication of what is going on with all the staff and other leaders of this country. And in terms of prevention, I will give you just an example. I think by January, in fact, we have never stopped to put hand sanitizers on our buildings since that time. So we installed them completely at the entrance of each lift, each office, and this was from that time. So there are automatic hand sanitizers providers since that time. So in fact, when in January, people were talking about the COVID outbreak, there was another pandemic which is going on in Nigeria, which people don't talk about. It's the Lassa fever, so which was declared, I think, last year in some states in Nigeria. So measures were still there, and we had just to enforce it and put our security personnel at every entrance to remind the staff. We have cameras watching if someone has washed his hands and all those things. Plus the thermometer, the capturing of everyone, including the CEO and his driver, and even at my home, my security personnel, they test me when I come back home. And this started in January. So I may say that there were plans. We had the business continuity plan already in place because of this was implemented when we had, there was, I think, another lockdown, this time decided by the population in 2015, I think, when the government started to try to raise the price of the fuel, and we had 15 days, 9 days of lockdown, total lockdown. So we had a business continuity plan already in place, including the one of evacuating staff if there is any political instability. So we had just to make it work quickly. Thank you very much.
Lawrence, I know you're in Lagos at the moment, but do you have a view of how the Southern African teams are prepping as well? Are they as well prepared as you guys in West Africa?
Okay, thanks, Liz. We do have a COVID response team that's reporting, that's meeting on a daily basis. They are actually meeting right now and giving us feedback as to what's happening in each of our operating territories. So I'm kept fairly well up to date in terms of what's going on. In terms of preparedness, if you look at a country like Botswana, for instance, they've never seen anything like this. It's a fairly closed country. So they had never seen anything like this. So it's really new territory for them. And you can see that the response there has been particularly robust. They've declared a state of emergency, extended that now for 6 months, banned the sale of alcohol and tobacco products for the next 6 months and so forth. So you do have a fairly robust response happening in Botswana. But in terms of preparedness, I do view their level of preparedness as having been quite low relative to what we are seeing or what we have always had here in Nigeria, where we, as Corneille said, we only did ramp up what we already had in place because of the experience we've had due to the Ebola crisis, Lassa fever, to a certain degree, I think yellow fever, and also the fuel shutdown that we had a couple of years ago. My view is countries in Southern Africa, the level of preparedness is quite varied. Zimbabwe, for instance, with its challenges that go back now 10, 15 years is not prepared at all. You are not seeing that much testing happening there. South Africa, because it's a more advanced, more open economy, we are seeing the number of cases rising quite rapidly, but it's primarily, in my view, the fact that they've got a much higher capacity to test and they've got a much better organized health sector. We are not seeing much in terms of reports from Mozambique, but Zambia, Angola, in those two countries, we are also seeing the number of cases going up. And for those two, I think the key thing is the economic impact. Both of them are resource-based economies, and in my view, a response similar to what we have seen in Europe is going to have a particularly severe impact on a country like Zambia and also a country like Angola that are primarily facing significant challenges already due to the tanking of global commodity prices. But yeah, we do have feedback from Southern Africa, and things there are quite different depending on the nation that you're talking about.